My parents claimed they couldn't afford 2 kids, so my niece got the vacation instead. When they came home, we were gone, along with everything I paid for. Imagine being told your own child is too expensive for a family memory, right to her face. That moment, when my 9-year-old daughter Lucy's innocent joy was extinguished by a casual, cruel pronouncement, shattered something inside me. And that's when I knew, playing nice, being the family fixer, it was all over. My name is Steven. I'm 36, a construction worker, covered in sawdust most days, with forearms that look like I arm wrestle fence posts for fun. I build, I frame, I fix. I like things I can measure, levels, plumb lines, invoices that add up. In my family, I was always the fixer. My sister, Mara, she was the star. My parents always said I was steady. Mara, she was special. That word, special, it covered everything. Her grades, her tickets, her mistakes. It was a wave that pushed every bill, every problem, toward me. Lucy, my daughter, she's quiet, until she isn't. She collects shiny rocks, names them, lines them up on her window like her own little crew. Her laugh? It pops like bubble wrap. But she also knows when a room changes. She feels it faster than I ever could. And she felt it the second my parents dropped the bomb. It was a Sunday. The table smelled like lemon cleaner and pot roast. My dad cleared his throat, like he was about to sing the national anthem. Mom folded a napkin 3 times, even though it was already perfect. Mara, of course, was scrolling on her phone. Her daughter, Ellie, 12, wore a sweatshirt that said Paris, even though her passport was blank. Lucy swung her feet under her chair, humming softly. Me? I was counting silverware. I do that when I feel a speech coming. We have news, Mom beamed, looking at Mara with a big smile, then at me with a smaller one. We booked a cruise for June. Family time. Cool, I said, my heart lifting a little. Lucy will be hyped. Then Dad held up a finger, like a referee about to call a foul. We couldn't afford 3 tickets, Steven. Just 2. So, we decided we'll take Ellie. She's older. She'll remember it more. He said it like math, like easy subtraction, 2 grandkids minus 1. Lucy looked at me. She didn't cry. Her mouth did something small, something brave. She just whispered, oh, okay. Then she looked down at her plate, pressing her peas with a fork, like she could turn them into something else if she just pushed hard enough. Mara didn't even look at us. She just tapped her phone and smirked. Makes sense. Honestly, Ellie's at a formative age. She said formative, like she just learned it. Plus, Lucy gets anxious in crowds. Boats are crowded. Mom put her hand over mine, like I was the one who might make a scene. It's not personal, Steven. We just couldn't afford 2 kids. We'll do something little with Lucy later. Maybe mini golf. She said mini golf, like it was a medical plan. Dad chimed in. We're not made of money, son. I heard the fridge hum. I heard Lucy swallow. I heard the hurt land and then go quiet, like a nail that stops ringing because it's all the way in. Got it, I said, my voice flat measured. Thanks for telling us. Mara stretched and yawned. Oh, also, Steven, could you look at the deck while you're here? It's bouncy. Ellie has friends over, and I don't want anyone to sue us. She grinned. You're handy. She said it like a compliment, but it felt like a locker combination. Handy meant free. Free meant invisible. I didn't argue at the table. I just put gravy on Lucy's potatoes and asked if she wanted more carrots. She nodded without looking up. We ate. We smiled. Everyone pretended the room didn't tilt. On the drive home, Lucy traced circles on the fogged window. Very softly, she asked, do you think Grandma forgot I like boats too? I gripped the wheel. I think Grandma forgot how feelings work. Lucy laughed once, a small, sad sound. Then she was quiet again. I found myself doing job math in my head. Lumber prices, overtime rates. As if I could frame a wall around her and keep the wind out. I didn't fight at dinner. I didn't send any furious messages. But something settled in me then, something hard, like concrete. I could feel it set. The trigger was simple, that sentence. We couldn't afford 2 kids, said out loud while my kid was sitting right there. I put Lucy to bed and stared at the ceiling, like it held answers. It didn't. The answers came later. They started with receipts and a list. That night, I listened to my house breathe and promised myself I'd stop pretending I was just handy. I'm a dad, and that's the only job I won't do cheap. See, people think blow-ups are one thing. They're not. They're a pile. My pile started when I was 17 and learned you can carry debt you never made. When we were kids, Mara got the cheer uniform that didn't count because there was a booster fund. I got a lecture about the cost of cleats. In my 20s, when I started on the crew, I brought home scrap wood and built shelves for my parents' garage. Dad said, finally, something useful. When I fixed their leaky shower, Mom hugged me and said, you're a lifesaver. When I handed her the invoice, at cost, just materials, she blinked. Oh, I thought this was your gift. That's how it went. I framed their basement at a family rate. I replaced their water heater on a Sunday because their installer was a scammer. I bought them a new TV when their old one turned everything purple. You know the deals, Dad said. I paid. They thanked me. Then they asked if I could mount it, too. Since you're already here. I was always already there. It wasn't just labor. It was money. It always dripped like a faucet you can't quite shut. Steven, can you add us to your Costco card? It's easier. Steven, can you put the deck materials on your contractor account? We'll pay you back. Steven, you know computers. Can you order the right laptop for Ellie? Send me the link. Actually, can you just put it on your card and I'll Venmo? That Venmo never came. Or it came once for $50 with a heart emoji and you're the best. Meanwhile, I had receipts. I didn't keep score because I'm petty. I kept score because I need numbers to think. Over 3 years, this family stuff added up to real money. New TV, $879. Water heater plus valves, $1,142. Emergency electrician on a holiday because dad tripped a breaker with a space heater and a saw. $285 call out plus $160 parts. Deck materials on my account for the discount, $2,600. Laptop for Ellie's design class, $1,199. Costco runs, will split later $1,940. Miscellaneous $37 here, $82 there. $110 for a rental truck because dad wanted the big grill the day before the sale ended. I can afford my life. I budget. I save. I buy boots before the holes get dangerous. But there's a difference between helping and being a line item. Mara knows how to make a favor sound like praise. You're so good with your hands, she says, handing me a broken door. You're so responsible, she says, forwarding me a bill just this once. She calls my job blue collar when she's being fake nice and manual labor when she's annoyed. Either way, I'm the guy who lifts. My parents? They love me. I don't doubt that. But their love is tangled up in a story where my job comes with a never-ending family warranty. They brag about me to neighbors in a way that feels like a coupon. Our son does construction, best in the county. Then they ask if I can look at the neighbor's fence as a favor, because it's good for business. It's not. It's just free. Lucy sees all of it. She sees me pack up for quick stops that turn into 4 hours and pizza money. She sits on the steps and watches me load my tools. Is this a work job or a grandma job? She asks. I say grandma job. She says, oh, like she's already learned what that means. The month before the cruise announcement, I built a pergola for my parents at cost. My cost. 2 weekends, $1,300 in cedar. I told Dad, just pay materials. He said, I'll do you one better, and handed me an envelope. Inside, $300 cash, for your time, he said. He squeezed my shoulder like I'd won a prize. I said, thanks. I went home. I put the envelope in a drawer and stared at it, like it might hatch into respect if I left it long enough. Then came the cruise speech. We couldn't afford 2 kids. The math of it, the casual way they handed my child the short straw. After dinner, while Lucy brushed her teeth, I scrolled photos on my phone, looking for the last time she was so excited she couldn't sleep. It was when we camped by the lake, and she thought the raccoon footsteps were fairies. She was 6. She told me then, marshmallow on her chin, we're rich in stars. I wrote that in my notes app. I looked at it again, and I decided right then, I wasn't going to let anyone talk to my kid like she was a budget problem ever again. I didn't say anything then. I waited. I watched how the next week went. Mom sent 3 texts about cruise excursions, parasailing. Ellie deserves this. Mara posted a countdown on her story. Dad sent me a link to a great deal on composite decking and added, let's plan our spring project while we're on vacation. Hilarious. Lucy pretended she didn't care, but her bedtime questions gave it away. Do boats have quiet rooms? Does grandma get seasick? If you're scared on a boat, can you look at the sky instead? If I save my allowance, can I buy my own ticket? How much are tickets? How many dog walking jobs is that? I answered what I could. Boats have quiet corners. Grandma has a strong stomach. The sky helps. It's a lot of dog walking. I started to write a list. Everything in my parents' house that I bought. Everything attached to me. The TV, the washer, the dryer, the grill, the pergola materials, the deck boards sitting in the garage for spring. The Ring camera system I installed after Dad said the neighborhood was getting sketchy. I didn't write it to be mean. I wrote it like an inventory, because that's how I think. A simple question followed. Why are my things in a house that talks about my kid like she's optional? I put the list away. I kept my voice steady in front of Lucy. I told myself I would talk to my parents, calmly, with numbers, after the cruise. Then Mom called 3 nights later, and said, so casually I almost missed it. Oh, can you feed the cat and water the plants while we're gone, and take a look at the sump pump? It's making a sound. She paused. We'll leave you the key. The key? Like I didn't already have one. Like I wasn't already the guy who shows up and resets the breaker when the freezer beeps. Sure, I said. I'll take care of it. And I meant it. I was going to take care of it. Just not the way they expected. The big scene wasn't yelling. It was packing. They left on a Saturday. Matching shirts, rolling suitcases, sun hats in Michigan in March because Mom loves a theme. Ellie squealed when the Uber pulled up. Bye, she sang to Lucy. Like Lucy was a neighbor kid she barely knew. Lucy waved, then put her hand down, then put it back up like she was practicing the right amount of polite. When the car turned the corner, she asked, do we feed the cat now? Her voice was steady. Mine wasn't. Yes, I said. Their house was quiet. In the fake way quiet gets when you take noise with you. The cat glared, then leaned into Lucy's palm like it was always hers. I checked the sump pump. It was fine. Just old, like a lot of things in that house. Except for the things I'd replaced. I opened the pantry and saw the Costco bulk I'd hauled last month. I stood in the living room and saw the TV I bought. I walked to the laundry room and saw the washer and dryer I'd ordered the day their old ones died mid-cycle. I put my ear to the water heater I'd installed when theirs popped and soaked the hallway. I looked at the pergola out back and the deck boards stacked in the garage, waiting for spring. I took out my phone and opened the list. Then I opened a note I'd written the night of the cruise conversation. At the top, I had typed, "This isn't revenge. This is a boundary." Under it, "If they choose one grandchild, I choose mine. If they call money love, I take my love back to my house." "Dad," Lucy called from the kitchen. "The cat likes me." "I like you too," I said. I called my friend, Nate. We work together sometimes. He owns a truck and a back that doesn't complain. "You busy?" I asked. "For you, no," he said. "What's the job?" "Moving," I said. "Whose?" "Mine," I said. "And also not mine." He laughed. "Be there in 20. We didn't take anything that wasn't mine. We didn't touch their couch, or their table, or their photos. We unplugged the TV I'd bought and wrapped it like it was glass. We unscrewed the ring cam and patched the hole. We slid the washer and dryer onto dollies and strapped them tight. We loaded the grill I'd assembled with the same care I'd put into assembling it. We left the pergola. It was cemented. It wasn't about making them suffer. It was about stopping the bleed. Lucy held a clipboard and checked items off my list. TV check. Washer check. She took it seriously. "God, I love that kid." Halfway through, I found the envelope with the $300 Dad gave me for the pergola. It was in the junk drawer, under rubber bands and expired coupons. I put it on the counter. We left a note in the kitchen, right where they set their keys. I kept it simple. "Mom, Dad, you said you couldn't afford 2 kids, so you picked Ellie. I heard you. I'm not going to argue while you're gone. I'm going to act like my kid matters." The items I bought, TV, washer, dryer, grill, ring cam, deck materials, are now at my house. They were mine to begin with. I left the receipts on the table with the $300 you gave me for the pergola, since it bothered both of us. "Lucy and I won't be here when you get back. We're done doing handy person work in exchange for being told we cost too much. If you want a relationship with us, the price is respect. If you want free labor, call a contractor. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure and boundaries." Steven. P.S. Cat food is on the bottom shelf. Sump pump sounds normal. I shut off the hose bib for the season. Nate read it and nodded. "Fair," he said. We drove home. My garage looked like a small appliance store. It also looked like mine. Lucy asked if we could watch a movie on our TV, on the floor with blankets. We did. She fell asleep halfway through. I moved her to bed and sat on the couch and waited for my phone to light up with airport selfies and sunset emojis. It didn't. Not yet. They were at sea. That was the loudest quiet I'd ever heard. They came back 10 days later. My phone started vibrating before sunrise, like it had a nervous system of its own. First, Mom. "Steven, where's the TV? What is happening?" Then, "Dad, call me now." Then, "Mara, bro. The group chat is on fire. Did you rob Mom and Dad?" Ellie is crying. I didn't answer right away. I made Lucy pancakes. I put blueberries in a smile, and she smiled back for real. At 9:12 a.m., my dad called again. I picked up. "You took our stuff," he yelled. "No, hello. I took my stuff," I said. "Receipts are on your table." "You're a thief." "I'm an owner," I countered. "And a parent." "You embarrassed us," he snapped. "Your mother cried." "You embarrassed me when you told my daughter she was the one you couldn't afford," I said, my voice steady. "And you didn't cry then." He went silent, then tried a new door. "We needed those things." "So did we," I replied. "But we didn't tell a 9-year-old that she was too expensive for a memory." He exhaled into the phone like he was blowing out a birthday candle with hate. "Bring them back." "No," I said. "We're done playing rich with my wallet." He hung up. 3 dots. 3 dots. 3 dots in the family chat. Then Mom. "This is so cruel. We were going to surprise Lucy with a beach day next month. Mara, you took back a washer?" "Who does that?" "Me. A person who bought it." Mara called. "You took their ring camera. Are you insane? The neighborhood is sketchy." "I left the base," I said. "You can buy a camera body for $99. "Why are you being like this?" she demanded. "Because of a cruise? You're mad about a cruise." "I'm not mad about a cruise," I said. "I'm clear about a pattern." "What pattern?" she scoffed. "The one where I build your deck, pay for your laptop, set up your alarms, and then my kid gets told she's the extra," I said. "That pattern." She huffed. "You love to count." "Yes," I said. "Because counting stops people from gaslighting you." She tried to go for the throat. "Lucy's sensitive. You cuddle her." "Lucy's sensitive to disrespect," I said. "So am I now." I sent an email after the calls, because phones turn people into actors. Emails make them read. Subject, items purchased by me plus going forward. Bullet points. TV, washer, dryer, grill, ring camera, deck boards. Dates. Costs. Attached photos of receipts. A short paragraph. Over the last 36 months, I have spent $7,750 on items in your home. I'm not asking for reimbursement. I'm relocating my purchases to my house. Going forward, I'm not available for unpaid labor or loans. If you need a contractor, I can recommend 3. Mom replied with a photo of the empty TV wall and the caption, "This looks awful." I typed and deleted 4 replies. I ended with, "It does." That's how it felt to hear you say, "My kid didn't fit." Then my phone lit up with a new notification. It was my mother on the doorstep cam I had just installed at my place. She was on my porch, hands on hips, looking like she was about to tell an HOA I'd violated a bylaw. I opened the door before she knocked. "Mom," I said. She didn't hug me. She leaned and looked past me, like she could spot the TV with her eyes. "You took it," she said. "Yes," I said. Her mouth trembled. "You always do this," she whispered. "You make me feel like a bad mother." I took a breath. "I didn't make you say you couldn't afford 2 grandchildren." She flinched. "It was money. We didn't have enough money." "You had enough for matching shirts," I said. "You had enough for parasailing." She blinked fast. "We wanted to do something special for Ellie. She's older." "Then say that," I said, without pretending it's math. "Say you picked Ellie. Don't hide it behind affordability while you stand in front of the TV I paid for." Her face went soft for a second, like she heard me. Then it hardened again. "Your dad is furious," she said. "He says you can forget about the house. He won't leave you anything." "Okay," I said. "Leave it to the person you can afford." She gasped, like I'd slapped her. "Don't be cruel." "I'm being literal," I said. "I'm not auditioning for an inheritance." She looked around, like my porch might offer her a different line. Then she saw Lucy behind me, holding the cat carrier for no reason, like she wanted to have something in her hands. Mom swallowed. "Hi, sweetie," she said. Lucy lifted her hand in a small wave. "Hi, Grandma." Mom looked back at me. "We'll talk later," she said, and left without looking again. The next 48 hours were loud. 16 calls, 32 texts, 2 emails from Dad that read like angry Yelp reviews. 1 message from Mara, a photo of Ellie crying with, "Are you happy now?" I didn't reply. I refused to respond to weaponized tears. Then it went quiet. Quiet is heavy when you grew up in noise. I kept moving, because if I sat still too long, I'd start apologizing out of muscle memory. I returned the $300 envelope. I slid it under their door with an index card that said, "This was never enough. Keep it." Not a dig, just true. I went to work. I built a stair stringer that fit the first time. I came home, helped Lucy with spelling, and installed our own Ring camera. I took back the time I spent fixing their house and used it on ours. Lucy and I made a chore chart. We made a weekend plan. Yard cleanup, library, a cheap diner with pancakes the size of steering wheels. I set aside $50 every Friday in a new account labeled Lucy's First Trip. Not to make the world fair, but to remind myself I control our corner of it. A week later, Dad texted, "So, we're done then." I wrote back, "We're not done. We're different." He left it on read. That was better than his usual thumbs down. Mara tried to bargain. "If you bring back the washer, I'll pay you half." I wrote, "It's installed here." She said, "Fine, I'll just use the laundromat like a peasant." I said nothing. Then, 10 minutes later, "What brand is a good budget washer?" I sent 2 links. She bought one. Her next text, "Thanks." I screenshotted it, not to gloat, but to remember she's capable. When I stopped cushioning, she stepped up. Mom sent a card. Inside, "Family first," and a photo of the cruise sunset. I almost laughed. I put it in a drawer. The loudest reaction came 2 weeks later, at church, of all places. A woman I vaguely know cornered me by the coffee. "I heard you took your parents' washer," she said, eyes bright. "Is it true?" "Yes," I said. "That's bold," she whispered. "No," I said. "It's ownership." She blinked and walked away like I'd said a swear. The practical part of the aftermath was easy. Deliveries, screws, brackets. The emotional part was a saw that kept binding. I kept repeating the line, because it kept me from going soft in the wrong places. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. One night, while I was changing a light fixture, Lucy came in with 2 rocks cupped in her hands. "This one is heavy but small," she said. "This one is big but light." She put them on the table like words. I nodded, suddenly useless with my hands. "Exactly," I said. "Can we go to the lake again this summer?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "With or without anyone?" She smiled. "We're rich in stars." "We are." Closure for me wasn't an apology speech on a porch in the rain. It was a lot of boring, good choices in a row. I moved every monthly dollar I used to drop on family emergencies into 2 new buckets, Lucy trip and house repairs. I wrote an email to my parents that said, "If you want help with a project, I can send referrals. My rates are the same as for any client. If you want to see us, great. Sundays at the park, no projects discussed." I printed a copy and taped it inside my kitchen cabinet, next to the thermostat schedule and Lucy's art. Mom started texting photos of recipes and the dog in hats. She stopped sending invoices disguised as favors. Dad slowed down to 1 grumble a week. "You think you're better than us?" he said once on the phone. "No," I said. "I think we're separate now." He didn't know what to do with that sentence. That's okay. It wasn't for him. Mara tried a new tone after her laundromat week. "I'm getting quotes on the deck," she texted. "Do you have tips so I don't get ripped off?" I sent 3 questions to ask and told her to get it in writing. She said, thanks, again, but this time, it was without teeth. Progress. When the cruise photos came up in my mom's living room a month later, Lucy and I weren't there. We were at the lake with sandwiches and bug spray. She skipped rocks. I counted them out loud. She got to 5. We cheered like it was the Olympics. That night, she fell asleep in the car on the drive home. I carried her to bed and saw the rocks lined up on her windowsill. She'd added 2 new ones. She'd written tiny names on the bottoms in pencil. I didn't flip them over. Some things are hers alone. If you need the moral spelled out, here it is, as plainly as I can say it. I'm not a wallet with a wrench attached. I'm a father. If you tell my kid she doesn't fit, you don't get my things, my time, or my skill. Respect is the price of admission. Pay it, or stay home. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. I wrote it on a note once. Now I live it. It looks like pancakes on Sundays. A washer that hums in our hallway. A TV we sit too close to on movie nights. And a little girl who knows she's never the extra. My parents can say I'm dramatic. Mara can call me petty. People at church can clutch pearls about washers. Fine. I'll be the man who counted, set a boundary, and stuck to it without yelling. My name is Steven. I build things that don't wobble. This time, I built a boundary. And it holds.